Hello everybody, here we are today and we're going to be doing our season preview over the Tampa Bay Lightning. Now before we start, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So the Lightning's reign of terror officially ended last season as they were knocked out in the first round against the Toronto Maple Leafs, ending their 3-year spell where they were in the Stanley Cup final, winning 2 of those, and now there are a ton of questions swirling around this team going into this season. So what are some of the storylines to talk about going into this campaign? Well, the first one is about Andrei Vasilevskiy and the fact that he is set to miss some time. So Vasilevskiy, of course, has undergone successful back surgery and will miss the next 8 to 10 weeks, effectively around 20 games for the team. And what does this mean for the Lightning? It means a lot, and I know a lot of people will throw out the fact that when Ben Bishop was there, they were still a good team, and that Vasilevskiy was able to go into a system that already had a lot of stars. That's true, but I do not want to discredit what Vasilevskiy's been able to do in his time in the NHL. A Vezina, Conn Smythe, a finalist for the Vezina multiple times, 7 30-plus win seasons over his past 7 seasons, and over the past 2 seasons, no goalie except for 2, Connor Hellebuyck and Jussi Saros, have played more games than him in the NHL. He has been the workhorse and the backbone for the Tampa Bay Lightning, a goalie that was there for back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. And while people will say, hey, they were good with Ben Bishop, they were. But did they ever win a championship with Ben Bishop? They did not. Yes, of course, they were able to make it to the 2015 Stanley Cup final. And yes, they were a more mature team for those runs. But guess what? We've seen a lot of really good teams that are good defensively have goalies that benefit off them, and then they end up not making it on a deep run. The Lightning were able to be dominant in stretches for the run to back-to-back Stanley Cups. And at times, obviously, he was part of the reason they were able to make it to the 3rd Stanley Cup. Now, I know he had a bad series against Colorado and Toronto, but the fact remains, he has been a staple for this team's success in recent years. And really, this is a talking point I've had a lot since I've had my channel, that they haven't really had to use a backup a whole lot compared to other teams. It's a luxury that John Cooper has had, and I'm sure he'll admit that, to have a Vezina caliber goalie that can give you 60 games a season. That luxury is gone, and this means that for the first 20 games, they have to figure out what's going to happen. They do have a backup here, and the backup will be Jonas Johansson, and he has played 35 games in the NHL, 28 starts, so the sample size at the moment is kind of small. Will they try out and get another goalie? What are the moves going to be made here? I can't say, because at the moment I haven't really seen anything, but it's obvious that without Vasilevskiy, this team will be tested early on, and you're hoping for Vasi is able to come back and get back to form, because to go through back surgery as a goalie is going to be hard enough as is, but to go back and try to be a Vezina caliber goalie on a team that still wants to win multiple championships, well, that's going to be downright difficult. The second talking point is who stands to benefit from all this. Well, there are a few teams that come to mind. When I heard this news, I thought that everybody in the Atlantic Division, as well as the Eastern Conference, was probably licking their chops from this news. Not so much that, oh, it's great that Vasilevskiy is hurt, I'm so excited about that. More along the lines of, let's kick this team while they're down. They have dealt with a lot in recent memory, and they have been a team that's been able to rally and have lots of good seasons. Really, since 2011, I think, was their first really good year. They were able to make it to the Eastern Conference Final that year. And since then, they have been tormenting teams. They barely missed out on the playoffs one of those years, like 2014, 2015, 2015, 2016. Well, no, it would have been the 2015-2016 season. But the point remains, they've kind of been a thorn in everyone's side. So with some teams in the division looking to get the edge over them, what would be the case here? You're looking at teams like Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, really anybody that's not Toronto, saying, boy, it would be nice to be able to play them. And the reality is Toronto would like to play them while they don't have Vasilevskiy. So looking at their first 20 games, what's going to be happening here? They have 8 divisional clashes. They have a game against Buffalo, a game against Detroit. They have 2 games against Ottawa, 2 games against the Maple Leafs, and then they have a game against Montreal. If that adds up to 8, hopefully it does. If not, throw in another team. The Bruins, that's who they play. So with all these teams, you're really thinking, why not try to beat them and get a swing in momentum in the beginning of the season? That way, in case the Lightning do start to surge later in the year, you can have a little bit of a cushion. Maybe not a big cushion, but a nice cushion. So for me, looking especially at a team like Ottawa that is in that point where are they a top 3 spot in the division? Are they a wild card team? You could theoretically have a 4-point swing that would be huge come playoff time if you're able to make it. And if you're not able to capitalize on this, you could say, well, that's part of the reason why things didn't go particularly well. Toronto, a team that is hopefully looking to do some damage in the playoffs. They are the favorite to win their division this year. They ideally would like to take care of business against Tampa Bay earlier rather than later. So these swings are really important. They also have 3 other games against the Metro teams. I know Carolina is one of them. Columbus is one of them. I cannot remember the other team that they play again in the Metro for their first 20 games. So with this being said, there are certainly teams that benefit from them. Detroit, Buffalo, some other teams as well. 3 of their first 4 games for the Lightning are divisional matches. So you would hate to have a bad start within those first 4 games. And within these first 20 games, having all those divisional clashes mean that you're going to be facing some teams that are directly going to benefit from this. So yeah, there are a lot of teams benefiting from trying to kick them while they're down. The final talking point here is, what will this season tell us? It's going to tell us a lot about this team. They have dealt with a lot of adversity in recent years, and I know people are going to go cap relief, LTIR. They've lost pieces from their cup contending teams. They've had to trade players to get under the cap. They've had guys leaving free agency, obviously. They've had injuries. They have still been a staple in the NHL as what you want to market your team around in terms of success and goals. They haven't even needed to win their division the years that they've been able to go on the Stanley Cup final. They've taken care of business multiple times, and they've been able to go on deep runs multiple times. However, they are facing a tall test. Again, without Vasilevsky, they are dealing with multiple guys like Killorn leaving. They are also dealing with some other drama like Steven Stamkos in the whole contract negotiations. Could they be losing one of these staples of their franchise, a pillar of this franchise's history after this year? All remains to be seen, and it is just multiple things that you could see are anchors trying to drag this team down. And in this, maybe not era, but this season, in terms of the run that they've been on, is this the end of an era? Maybe it is, because we could be seeing the cracks finally start to take their toll after years of eating away at this group, and they still have a very talented core, but it really does remain to be seen. What is the character of this team? What is going to happen? Can they rally around some guys? Tanner Jeannot was a guy that they traded to get. He didn't play particularly well. They probably would like him to play well. They're going to need their goalies to play well. They're probably going to score or need to score a decent amount of goals to be able to make the playoffs and then maybe make some noise in there. It really just depends, A, I think, on how the season starts, but B, on how this group does. Because if they turn on each other and say, well, this is not how things have gone in recent memory and it's your fault, or we are just not as good in recent years and this is just the start of the end, then maybe you do see the end of an era. Is their championship window closed? I can't say just yet, but it is something where you're looking at this year and saying, is this a defining year of saying we rallied and we're able to show that this is why we've been a team that's won multiple championships this year? Or is this the new era where you start to wonder about, hey, some of these guys are older. Do we let them leave? Do we trade them? What's going to happen? Again, legacy defining season possibly for this franchise. So overall, what are my thoughts for Tampa Bay going into this season? Before Vasi got hurt, I would have said probably second in the division to third in the division would have been a walk. I may have even given them second in the division with some other teams taking some steps back and losing some key pieces. Without Vasilevsky, it is just a mess. There is a logjam in this division, and with multiple teams that have young guys that have never even sniffed the playoffs, they are in a dogfight right now. They need this core to play well. They have got really good players, mind you, but they need them to play well early and often. Father Time could be marching on some of these players. Is Kucherov going to have a good year? Is Hedman going to have a good year? Multiple things that could go wrong for this team. John Cooper, a great NHL coach, is going to be tasked with really trying to make sure that the wheels don't fall off early in this season and, try to get things back to where they were. Do I see them as a playoff team still? Yes, I do. The sky might look like it's falling right now, and in some senses maybe it is, but at the same time, through their first 20 games, let's say that they just win 8, 9, 10, they're still going to be afloat. Vasilevsky comes back and plays decent. You'd have to imagine he'd play better than their backups. You're probably going to see them score goals, and you're probably going to see Vasi come up clutch in key moments. Will they be a walk for the top 3? I think maybe still yes, but we will see. I am so excited to see what happens for the Lightning and for this division this year. What are your thoughts for the Tampa Bay Lightning going into this season? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And you go love hockey, alright? Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.